Pretty simple video this week. It's mostly just going to be me yapping into the camera, so if you want to put this video on and listen while you do something else, that makes perfect sense. Starting this off though, is Tarkov dead or dying? The short answer is no. A slightly longer answer is not yet. And the long answer is only if VSG messes up a whole lot more. I will discuss the game's community and the issues that people currently have with Battlestate as a company later, but right now I want to focus on the game and gameplay itself. Barring a few hiccups, this wipe has been one of the best in recent memory, probably since the wipe where inertia was added to the game. Gunplay is one of the core parts of Escape from Tarkov, which is kind of funny, considering that for a lot of the game's history, the gunplay has been completely horrible. That being said, this wipe, I think it felt really good. Recoil wasn't completely terrible. It was just enough to incentivize modding, but it also wasn't so bad that anything that was non-meta wasn't completely worthless. A few wipes ago, I remember when recoil was so awful that aiming was basically impossible. You couldn't actually aim, you just kind of pointed your gun in the general direction of the enemy and sprayed and hope you hit them. Hell, hip firing was probably better than ADSing back then, but nowadays, fights actually feel like they take skillful aim and intelligent thought. Fighting other people feels good, which is a lot better than it used to be. Weapon balance feels like it's in a pretty good spot right now. Obviously, there are some weapons that are still stronger than others. The M1A does not feel good right now. It feels pretty terrible. But on the whole, you weren't put at a complete disadvantage just because you weren't using the meta weapons of the wipe. For instance, SMGs used to be completely worthless because you couldn't get decent ammo for them for a reasonable price. Nowadays, even when you could only get AP 6.3, they were pretty solid, and now that PvP is back on traders, they are absolute powerhouses. These positive changes in PvP made it so that the game wasn't nearly as rat-infested this wipe. People actually moved around. Yes, there were still quite a few rats. Yes, you still had to deal with people chilling in corners and bushes, but that is still a massive improvement over the previous wipes where you prayed that there was at least one other player that was moving around. Seriously, raids used to feel so dead until you walked into the wrong corner and there were 5 people there with shotguns ready to blow your face off. This wipe, you would run into the occasional rat, but most often I found myself fighting other players in the open. Now let's talk about cheating. Yes, cheaters are definitely still a persistent issue in Escape from Tarkov. The vacuum cheats especially were and likely still are a case of extreme annoyance. That being said, at least on North American servers, it has decreased since previous wipes and since the start of this wipe. Cheating used to be the biggest problem in Escape from Tarkov because you would have maybe a blatant cheater just come and kill you once every 5 or 6 raids. Nowadays, I'm not saying it doesn't exist. This wipe, I ran into a cheater who was suspicious maybe once every 15 to 20 raids. Definitely still an issue, but not unplayable like it used to be. New changes continue to improve on the feel of the game. Inertia feels like it's in a really good place right now, at least in my opinion. For those who don't know, after the whole Unheard Edition and Arena Breakout debacles, inertia was reduced. I'm sure there are those who would prefer it be removed entirely. That being said, as someone who remembers the dreaded days of Ferrari peaks, I think that a little bit of inertia is a good thing. The found in raid requirement to sell stuff on the flea market was removed. This is definitely a step in the right direction. It makes it so that finding a high-value item such as a LEDX doesn't immediately turn people into rats who scurry to the extract. Now, they might actually be willing to stick around and fight, which is a massive improvement over what felt like dead raids because nobody wanted to risk their loot. That being said, I don't think it should be possible to buy things from traders and then sell them on the flea market. The found in raid requirement should still exist. They just need to tune it so that everything that is pulled from the raid, including other players' loadouts and gear, counts as found in raid and therefore can be sold. Items in the secure container should also have found in raid status even if you died with it. I think this would be better. That being said, I don't think it's super necessary. So why am I talking about all this? Why am I making this video? If you played Escape from Tarkov, you likely already know all this. Well, the current Tarkov community is very negative, and, you know, justifiably so. That being said, I don't think that the negativity surrounding Battlestate games fairly reflects the state of the game itself. It should also be noted that we are in month 5 of the wipe, and wipe fatigue is definitely a factor. This happens every wipe where people are tired of the game, many people stop playing, a lot of doomers say that the game is dead, and then it jumps right back up in popularity once the new wipe comes. Let's be real, Tarkov is like crack. If someone says they're going to quit, you know, some of them might beat the odds and actually quit, but a lot of them will be playing again come wipe day. And I'm not saying this to make fun of anybody. I am definitely guilty of this myself. There have been multiple times where I have said, I'm done with Escape from Tarkov. I've even uninstalled it once or twice, and sure enough, here I am. Now I'm going to talk about BSG, and as someone who cares about Escape from Tarkov, who has been part of the game for a solid, I think, 3 or 4 years now, it is incredibly frustrating to see BSG make good decision after good decision just to shoot them. They didn't even shoot themselves in the foot. They blew their whole damn foot off with the Unheard Edition and their reactions to Arena Breakout Infinite. Before those two events, at least what I observed was people who were decently optimistic and feeling pretty positive about Escape from Tarkov. And then they went and did that, and now everyone feels terrible. It should also be noted that the community shouldn't have to be in an uproar for BSG to implement good changes. Changes to Found and Raid and Inertia have been requested for quite some time, and it seems like they were only implemented in an attempt to quell outrage, which is very freaking annoying. So what does BSG need to do now? Well, in my opinion, first, they need to accept that Arena Breakout is going to be viable competition. They're not untouchable anymore. Instead of getting angry at its existence, take some inspiration from its quality of life features. Fix the issues in Escape from Tarkov to make it a more attractive product for consumers. Welcome to the free market system. If BSG can continue to improve Escape from Tarkov as much as they have been recently, it is going to be an incredible game. If they fail to do that, or if they continue to create overpriced editions, or say stupid things on Twitter that just destroys their public image, then the game is definitely gonna wither and rot. So, to summarize, is Tarkov dying? No, not yet. BSG is going to have to do a lot more wrong in order for the game to truly start dying. That being said, if it ever happens, it will be entirely their fault. So yeah, those are my thoughts on the state of Escape from Tarkov. The game itself, I think, is in one of the best positions it's been in, at least for a long, long while, if not the best state it's ever been in. The company that is behind the game, though, respectfully, they kind of need to get their shit together. You can disagree with me. If you do, let me know what your own thoughts are in the comments below. Otherwise, just, yeah, thank you so much for watching, especially all the way to the end, and I hope you enjoyed.